Great, thank you. It's the regular meeting of the Larkspur Parks and Recreation Commission on Thursday, August 17th. Will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Commissioner Capel,
Present.
Commissioner Harrison,
Present.
and Chair Sunshine.
Present.
Commissioners Baxter and Friedel are absent tonight.
Okay, we'll go to public comment. If there's anybody either in the room or online.
Nobody
It's the time
online.
to bring up anything you want to talk about that's not on the agenda. Okay. Seeing no comments. Move on to item 3. Which is the approval of the consent calendar of minutes of April 20th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for April 20, 2023.
And I will second that. Okay. Should we call the roll? on that?
Yes, unfortunately, we don't have a quorum of
The people who are there.
people who were there, so we will have to we'll have to wait.
We'll continue
We'll have to
that. yeah?
wait to
Okay.
that.
Okay, we'll just continue that to the next meeting. Item number 4 is public hearing. There is none. Item number 5, we've got the parks update.
Give me 1 second. I have to share it with Zoom.
Is that our part?
Is it, but I thought it looked a little bit like.
It does.
Close
It
enough.
could be. Could be hyper.
Could be, yes. Anyway, hello, commissioners. Thank you for coming and listening to the parks update. So a couple things that have been happening. So Dolliver Park, the large structure that got crushed at the from the storm in March. It got reopened in April, was able to salvage a little slide and part of the playhouse. And I got the fence repaired so that it's now, it can be closed off again, which was really appreciated by all the families. The new structure arrived, I think last week, and it's on the schedule to be reinstalled in September, October, in a few months. And then there's the fence was sort of temporarily fixed, and so I'll get the permanent fix. We wanted to wait until the structure went in because we'll actually have to remove part of the fence for them to get their equipment in. Next. Oh, any questions on Dolliver before I move on?
Question, I've noticed, I mean, you wouldn't even know that it happened. It looks great. Obviously, you guys did a great job turning it around, but does anyone go and do we look at the trees around that
Oh,
park?
good question. Yes.
Just to see whether there are any,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way to.
Yeah, so we actually did after that tree fell down. Julian and Bob, our superintendent, they hired an arborist, and they assessed all the trees, and any of them that were, in danger of perhaps falling were removed.
Oh, they did remove.
Yeah,
some.
so most of them were, the one that fell on the structure was an oak tree, and then there's oaks, and then the bay laurels. Those were the ones that were, because they compete with the redwoods for the light, and then they get all wonky in the way that they grow, and that's what we consume. So those have been removed. So it's mostly just redwoods in there now. Yeah.
And they're all over with that.
Yeah. So
Well,
I think we're good.
I have a friend who lives on Yolanda Avenue in San Anselmo, and one of the oak trees fell on a house
Oh, yeah.
and barely missed somebody, and so everyone on that street, they're all taking down their oak trees.
Yeah.
They've got them assessed. It's just
It's
pretty,
scary. It's scary.
yeah. So
I will say that prior to the damage being done,
It looked great,
it was
didn't it?
great and it was very popular. I walk, it's on my dog walk
Yeah.
route. And people are always sitting on those benches and look like they're enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
So it'd be great when it returns to.
Yeah. They're still using it quite a bit, right? When you walk by, do you still see lots of families?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in the heat, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's it's the fence really, the parents can just relax. And the kids can run around and, they don't have to work, have to be on them, just parents and caregivers.
That's great.
So, any other questions on dog park? Okay. Piper Dog Park opened. We had the ribbon cutting June 30. Much larger than the old one. Small dog park, small dog park and large dog park. Two separate areas, and then there's the sort of the entrance ways. There's two sets of gates. So there's like a like entry area and then into the big park. And then the old dog park, the one that's behind the community center or the community gardens, will now be restored to tidal marsh. And so that's the next project that the same contractor is doing. So that's hasn't broken yet. Ground hasn't been broken on that yet, but that is coming this year.
Next
And
week.
Yeah, and then in part of that, it will be some repaving of the parking lot as well.
How's it being received by the public?
The dog park?
Yeah.
Yeah, very, people really like it. It's beautiful where it is, the location. There'll be maintenance issues, because it is turf, and so the dogs will dig, and so with new things comes new problems, but overall people are happy with it, and yeah, it's such a good spot.
I
we're
love
looking at the
it.
creek,
The
and
location is
yeah,
so good.
and people actually know that there's a dog park
A dog
there.
park.
Before it was like, oh, we have a dog park in Larkspur, so yeah,
Yeah, I was on the courts on Tuesday and I just watched a steady flow
yeah.
of dogs coming and going. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
It's yeah, and then the bathroom that's adjacent to it also got renovated as part of the same project, so the bathroom's cleaned up now.
Did you do much publicizing of the dog park and the ribbon cutting?
Not a bunch.
So just people on their own.
I mean, people were clamoring to get in before it was even ready to be open, and people were, jumping the construction fence, and it was hard to keep it out. So, yeah.
That's such a good question, because I'm sort of wondering whether you've noticed maybe fewer people at Piper,
Yeah.
kind of in the off leash, like
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, I have noticed a huge difference.
Oh,
The
more people
old dog park was very rarely used, and there was every morning I'd get here, there'd be 30 to 40 dogs off leash running around Piper. I do not see that anymore. There's still, a few people with dogs off leash, but the amount of people that I see in the dog park is eye-opening. I did not expect it to be as popular as it is right now.
So great.
Yeah. And speaking to the publicizing of the ribbon cutting, I think we sent out an email and then Instagram as well, and we had a good crowd that
Yeah,
day.
it's probably
Yeah.
like 50 maybe.
Yeah.
I would say that. Yeah, and I want to give credit to my colleague Rich Cho. He's actually, this was part of it was a Bon Air Bridge adjacent project, so he actually managed this project. So I don't want to act as if this was my project. And then in addition to that dog park project, the Bon Air Landing Park was also part of the Bon Air Bridge mitigation project. So this park is now done, except for the dock. The dock is they're gonna start, oh shoot, what did Julian say today?
Said it would be
Like
completed
before
by
November 30.
Yeah.
Because that's because the environmental constraints, they have to be out of the water by November 30. So I think it's being fabricated, that dock, or
Is it gonna be the same?
oh, it's very different. It's very
Specifically,
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, this is a wood dock.
Mhm.
This will be more like five.
It'll be the, like the Trex.
Yeah, but I think it's actually more,
I thought it was aluminum.
yeah, aluminum.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's, yeah, it'll be different. And then along with that, it's not really parks, but it's the public dock next to the Marine Rowing Club is also going to be replaced, or and that one's just floated away, I guess at this point, to be constructed with the same contractor. So I imagine they'll do it around the same time.
Yeah, I've heard lots of very positive comments regarding.
Oh, Bonner,
Bonner.
yeah.
A lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful, and there's a lot of families in that, that area, so it's
Mhm.
nice. That
That's-
grassy area is beautiful.
Yeah, I was just curious on who is going, it's just, that's not on my
Yeah.
dog walking route or
Yeah.
anything, so.
It's
Is it being used?
yeah, I mean, it's being used. I mean, there's tons of apartments, right?
Yeah,
in that-
apartments and condos,
Yeah,
a lot of
Oh,
apartments and
yeah.
condos. And it's also one of the few public docks
yes,
that,
yeah,
if you don't live someplace where you have a dock
Yeah.
or you can't.
Have access to one, yeah.
yeah, right.
It's really great.
And it's close enough to, the parking is right there, so if you're a kayaker, you can just, whereas like Piper will eventually replace that dock, but it's, pretty far.
Yeah.
Drag your vessel all the way around, so.
It's a good spot to go paddleboarding, but just make sure that the
The
tides.
tide,
tides are correct,
The
because
tides.
I've gotten caught, you sink into mud and.
Oh, and the mud is viscous,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
it's funny.
We've heard the stories from fire. Yeah, what they're doing rescues out there.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
people getting
Yeah.
rescued?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
my, okay.
That mud is serious. It's almost
Mhm.
quicksand-like.
Yeah. Okay. Hamilton Park, sorry. I didn't do that up very well. So I had a young Eagle Scout candidate work on the park. So the big picture is there's a tree that's by the water's edge, and so he rebuilt we removed the old tree bench that was there, and he and his troop and some dads over the weekend built that. So I took that picture on that, I think on Sunday, and we're still working on it. And then in the front, there's some benches that they refurbished the wood, and the irrigation, can you see where the water drinking fountain is? Yeah, right there, that irrigation box. That was part of his scope, but I think he bit off more than he could chew. He let me know that he couldn't work on that. So I've got to come up with a plan B and try to spruce that up, because that's the only thing that's left that really needs to be done in that park. Otherwise, it's all been upgraded. It looks really nice. Have any of you gone over there and taken a look? It's really pretty. It's I mean, being able to just go straight to the water's edge, it's really lovely. Yeah. But anyway, young Eagle Scout.
I take it we'll be signing some type of, there's usually a document, I don't know, a proclamation, but.
For the Eagle Scout?
Yeah, can we do that?
I don't think we've actually, I guess we could do that. Yeah.
I think we did it in the past when the guy did the basketball court, wasn't that right?
Oh, you mean over at Heatherwood? That
Yeah.
Resolution of things or something.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. All right, thanks for reminding me. Yeah, maybe next meeting we can sign something and say it this way. Greenbury School Park, that's the climber that used to be over at Dolliver, so that's now been installed over at Greenbury School Park. And then this park will be probably next fiscal years when I'll start doing some outreach and start working on some plans for next year for the improvement. What other improvements we could think about there based on our budget.
There are a lot of, is it residential around there?
It's very
Yeah.
residential.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very much so.
it's like almost hidden. It's tucked into
Yeah,
the street.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like Heatherwood, where Heatherwood is very tucked
Yes,
into the
yeah.
street. Yeah. And then, what I didn't add in there was, okay, so Niven Park, almost ready. The bid packet is almost ready to go out to bid. Still, there's just a couple tweaks that keep coming up with the engineer and the landscape architect, but we're getting close. And then Heatherwood, that's the one that I'll work on as well, sort of Heatherwood and Greenbury School Park, both of the last two parks and playgrounds that need upgrading. And so that'll happen as well.
Do you have a sense on when that date might be?
You know, after I'm done with once Niven gets under construction, I don't have
Next
the
year,
bandwidth for, yeah, I would say spring. Yeah, I just don't have the bandwidth to even think about anything that robust right now. And then I wanted to add on here, I forgot to do that, but Nick and I have just started, we're kicking off new master plan for Piper Park. So the one that we have was 2012, I believe. And we talked with Joanne, and we all kind of came to the conclusion that we needed to do a new master plan. And then, so that would involve possibly putting an RFP together, or we could actually sole source a consultant if we see some work that they've done that we like. And so we'll kind of, each meeting will kind of keep you apprised of what's happening. When there's an opportunity for you to be involved, we can certainly we'll definitely show you, like, okay, these are the master plans that we've gotten, and, this is what we like about that, get your feedback, and start the process that way.
So you don't necessarily need to go out to bid then, you're saying you can sole source things?
Yes, you can.
Is that based on a dollar figure or?
Yeah, so the public contract code actually is specific for construction, public works projects. But I did not know this either, I found out, but if it's just for consulting work, we don't need to do an RFP unless we want to. So, and usually, if you get to a certain dollar amount, it just doesn't like to just do sole source, but for this situation, we'll take a look. Yeah, we can look at different. So the next step that we're going to be doing is Nick and I are going to be looking at different agencies, get examples of master plans that have been done, look through them, what we like, what we don't like. Certainly, I'm happy to share these with you, and then get a sense of like, hey, wow, look at this. The three that we like the best is all done by one consultant, versus, oh, look, we like these three, and there were three different consultants. Maybe we should get proposals from all three. So we can just play by ear a little bit and decide how we want, which way we want to proceed. Obviously, if you just go single source, it eliminates probably a month and a half of time. You can just get going on that.
Do you have any questions? I'm curious about the master plan. When you say for Piper Park, is it for all of the recreation facilities? So the
Yes.
tennis courts to
Everything.
pickleball to
Yeah.
the fields?
All of it.
And does it have to be done jointly with the school, given that we've got a joint use agreement with them?
No, the current plan does incorporate the Hall synthetic field, which we have a joint use agreement for. So I don't know if the new plan will include anything with that, because it's technically not city property. I don't know how it'll.
It'll be
work
mentioned
out.
as an existing use, but it's it'll be, the way that these plans usually look is, here are all the amenities at the park. And then, there's, the thing we're really wanting to do is to make sure there's robust public outreach that, like, what amenities do you like, what are you using, what are you not using, the ones that you are using, what are the issues with it, or the non-issues with it. And so it would be, so certainly, the Hall Middle School, that field, if there's issues with it, such as like, oh, we want nighttime lighting, say, just use an example. Certainly, if people are talking about that, that's fine. But it's really just identifying what the needs and wants of the community are, and then so say something like lights, it just would be kind of controversial, I would imagine. Before we did anything, we'd have to do again more community outreach, especially the work people, and so this was suggested, recommendation, as as a possible improvement for Piper Park, and then get the community feedback. So just because it's in the park, the master plan doesn't mean it will implement it without due outreach to the community.
I'm just curious about pickleball these days.
Mhm.
I know that it's super popular in the community.
Yeah.
And we have just the one tennis court that's being used also as a pickleball court.
Right.
Just curious if there's been much public clamoring for a dedicated court, or just, what are your thoughts on that? If there's anything, you think about anything for the future?
It's definitely, yeah, I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest needs right now in the community. And that's led us to look at the current Piper Park master plan and to see how outdated it is, where it wasn't even a thought then. And now that's a huge thought. Yeah.
So I think one of the things we want from the master plan is, like, again, we want to hear from the community. What is missing? What do you want to see at the park? And then people will weigh in, so for the pickleball people, the people that want to play pickleball, of course, they want, pickleball. We really want to see, like, yes, this is a very vocal group that wants pickleball, but really when we talk about the entire community, like maybe the tennis people are, so we want to use this to be able to weigh in on what improvements to make. We don't want to just be reactionary and say, oh, we need more pickleball courts, take away 2 of the tennis courts and make them exclusively pickleball. Just don't want to do that. We want to do that with some sort of, a basis for these decisions to be made. And that's really the purpose of the master plan.
Yeah, I'm a pickleball person and a
Mhm.
tennis person. But I think you have 2 courts out here now that are lined for pickleball and tennis.
There are 4 pickleball courts lined on 1 tennis court, so 2 on either side of the court, of the net.
Okay.
So one tennis court can
I
come-
was playing on the other one Tuesday.
The one closest to the playground?
Yeah, it was lined.
I think those are chalk
Chalk
lines.
lines perhaps.
Yeah.
But they're very nice chalk lines. And then I noticed there's a net now. Is that a renegade net that's been left by pickle people?
I think that one was left. I actually,
Yeah.
I'm looking at putting pickleball on the agenda for September.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't talk about it too much right now,
Yeah.
but I'll give you the details about it. It'll be
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I think that, obviously, hot topic. So the challenge will be, or one thing to keep in mind, I guess, with master plan is like not to let it be the whole focus be hijacked by this one issue,
Right.
because there's a whole big park out there and
Yeah.
many uses for it.
Yeah.
So just making sure, to your point of the public
Mhm.
outreach, that you're
Yeah.
reaching out to, other kinds of users. And as we know, it's a regional resource as well. It's not
Yeah.
just, it's not
Exactly.
just,
Larkspur.
Larkspur.
Larkspur, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think when we're looking at consultants, that's, we definitely want to look at, really look at whatever master plan is, example that we're looking at, what did their public outreach look like? Was it just mailers? Obviously at this point, social, social media, and man on the park kind of things, all of that, and really get a good, robust sampling.
Yeah. Youth sports, it's,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
huge, it's a
exactly.
huge, yeah.
Yeah.
People
And
will
not just, and also
passionate
not just like, oh yeah, we did some outreach, for a month, during this month of August, when there's nobody around, want to make sure they did it over, a good, whatever, 3-4 month period.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I think the surveys you've done in the past have been really well done.
Yeah, for something like this, I wouldn't do it. I mean, this is like, to me, this is like a
Yeah.
professional
Oh,
team.
yes.
Yeah.
But I
Thank
just
you,
thought the
yeah.
idea of that, the survey outreach and people,
Yeah,
I thought that was very, very,
yeah, thank you.
Useful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and this is just, like you say, you know, it's not just Larkspur and it's not just the residents in, you know, the surrounding neighborhood. Yeah, we want to reach a big sampling. And then I think, you know, once we have that as a guiding document, then if somebody, a one-off person, you know, they want, like, hey, what about, you know, rollerblading? I want to do rollerblading. Why can't we go to rollerblading? Whatever, you know, you can say, well, you know, yeah, rollerblading, here it is, you know, 2 people. I don't know, whatever, you know, wanted that, or, you know, so you then have, you know, especially Nick, he gets the people wanting, you know, programming, and it becomes like, yeah, well, I hear you, but, you know.
We've gotten some out there requests, so.
I was gonna say, I really can only imagine.
When you talk about that master plan, this is specific to Pepper Park, or is this for all the parks in general, or how
This
does
is,
that? usually
yeah, so this would be specific to Piper. Yeah, we have the mini parks action plan.
Right.
Which was done, you know, in I think 2015, and, you know, we, pretty much all the projects that I've been working on, you know, there have been, it's based on a lot of things suggested in the map, in the mini parks action plan, but again, these are suggestions, and then like in different parts of an example, you know, where it's like, okay, these are suggestions, and then we go out to the public and say, okay, these are some ideas that we have based on the mini park section plan. You let us know what you like or don't.
It's also a great opportunity to educate people about what has happened in the last 10 years,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
the sand volleyball courts, the, you know, the new,
Tables.
yeah, the tables and all that kind of stuff, like just, you know, as part of that, to sort of quick, I don't know if the
Yeah.
survey, but like a quick look back, like, you know, this is why it's important for you to weigh in now, because
Right.
look at what your voice
Yeah, that's a good
has
point,
has
yeah.
done
Mhm.
for the park. We've got a much better park because of it, so it feels
Yeah.
like it's a nice opportunity to kind of
Yeah.
highlight those
The
benefits
shade,
and
and
changes.
the shade and the trees we put in the picnic area.
Yeah.
and all
The
of
new
that
dog
stuff.
park, the
Mhm.
new, I mean, I guess anyway,
Yeah.
that is super exciting, and I think spreading the word on that seems like such an important.
Yeah. So your travels, if you stumble across the master plan, you think it's bad, let us know.
Well, I'm sure, Nick, you've got all the contact information for all the teams and sports and reservations, so like.
Yeah, stakeholders,
these-
a lot of
yeah,
stakeholders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely be utilizing them, because that's their opportunity to really be heard. So I hear from a lot of groups, you know, with like this, with like that, and, you know, without having it in a master plan, it doesn't even really give me the, you know, the option to,
Right.
to do it.
Okay, any other questions on any of the other parks?
No.
Okay, and I think I forgot to introduce myself at the beginning of the parks, the update, so I'm Rita Shock, Administrative Analyst, Public Works Department. Okay, I'm done.
Great, thank you. We've got 5.2 night lights update.
Excellent. My favorite program. We'd like to bring night lights back at Piper Park. It is one of the, as I've said before, it's one of the programs, events that we've done where I've just gotten over the top, people so happy with it. So what I'd like to do this year is expand it. So I am going to be looking for private donors to help fund this endeavor. You're going to see these go up in the park. Just a few of them around the walking path right now. And so we're looking for private donors to sponsor trees. A tree sponsorship is $500 and gets something similar to this with your name on the tree. And then there's some packages for those that want to donate more money, and that'll include private hot cocoa nights and name sponsors of the event. So main reason for bringing this to you guys tonight is that I would love it if you could spread the word in the community. And if you guys know people or businesses that you would like to reach out about, there we have the page up on our website. I can send you some more info, or you can put people in contact with me. This will be our first year, the second year doing it, first time taking private sponsorship. So I'm open to all feedback once we get going. But excited to kind of expand this year. Expansion looks like, so we have electrical now out at the picnic tables. And so the thought is that we can now get lights further into the park along the path. And so that's the plan, is that we can raise more money. We can partially light some of the path. And last winter was wet the whole time, and it was cold and it was rainy. But people were out there, and people go out and walk around. I think in a normal winter, we could get a lot more traffic going through and actually walking the path in the evening and at night. So I'm excited for it, and looking for your support spreading the word.
Just a quick question. You have a goal in mind in terms of how many trees or how much money you're looking for, and is the sponsorship just to pay for the increase in the scope of the project, or?
I think right now I've lined up enough budgeting and sponsorships to do exactly what we did last year. And so anything beyond that would, $10,000 would be my goal. And that would probably get us another 10 trees out along the path.
Okay. And similar to the lighting, is it going to be pretty much the same as last year, or do you hope to change it up? Is it going to be different blinking, or or is it going to be?
Probably not. The contractor that we use is a bit of an artist himself, so he has kind of a vision for how he likes it, and I have trusted him so far, and I think it's worked out well. Blinking may be something that he's into. I know that I think that the color, I remember a few of the trees, not these ones, but a few of them had branches that would come off green and then blue. That was something I think he kind of did on accident. Mixing and matching lights and stuff. So that was kind of a cool effect. So he might do some stuff like that. But no huge changes to what we'd be doing, other than we'd like to encourage people to kind of walk a little bit more.
Yeah, sounds great.
And where do we get the information?
So this
Website
is on our website on if you go to the recreation page, there's a section for night lights that has donations on there. And there's also a QR code on there where you can scan and take you right to it.
Just a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
So those trees lit up in the poster, that's not what it looked like. Am I thinking about two different things? Because I think it was the blue, those really vivid blues and greens.
So
Were there multicolored ones as
there
well?
were
Maybe I didn't notice.
so many trees last year. I'm trying to think if I have some that I probably wouldn't be able to pull them up that quick, but these were along the parking lot. So these multicolored ones were around the parking lot. And then, between the parking lot and the field, and then a lot of the different colored light solids were around the volleyball courts,
Yes.
playground,
Okay, so there was a
picnic
different.
area. Yeah.
Okay, so there would be exception to that.
Yeah.
I think that sounds so great. I will point out that lights has an extra H in it. Sorry.
Lights.
Thanks for pointing that out.
I can pick out the typo on a sandwich board. It is a curse.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's very good.
But it looks fantastic. I think that sounds like a great.
There was a deal with the timer going down on purchasing these, and it's like, go.
Yeah.
There's only 6 of them, so.
Sorry. But it looks great. What a fun, and when are the lights going up? So if we want to lend a sense of urgency to.
So I have a soft deadline for sponsorships in September for that, and then the lights actually go up in November. I'm hoping that they'll be up right before or right after Halloween.
Oh.
Yeah. And last year, I think was delayed a little bit and that was mostly on our side, collecting the funds to make sure everything got paid.
Well, I will certainly be putting something on my Facebook feed or whatever it's called, asking for, letting people know about that.
Excellent. Yeah, ask me for pictures. I do have some nice pictures. Some one resident is a photographer that came down and took some really cool photos one night in the rain. It was all like reflections.
Oh, wow.
It's
Yeah, if
pretty
you could
cool.
send pictures,
Yeah.
to me and the other commissioners, I think.
Great reminders.
That'd be
It was stunning. It
helpful.
was so beautiful. Really. Yeah. It's just hard in August to think of it. being
Yeah.
hard like that, but soon enough.
Yeah, so this will be the first year taking private sponsorships, and hopefully it'll be something that can grow in the future, and that's something that we can almost just lock in for the next year without having to really do huge pushes for it.
Yeah, honestly, the donation amounts, their sponsorship amounts low enough, it's very doable.
Mhm.
No, I think it's a great idea to make it more of a walking, you know,
I do too.
journey through. I've been other things like that in other places.
Mhm.
It's nice when it's just, you know, rather than just kind of drive by, like, oh, the lights are really nice.
Yeah.
You get out of your car and make it an evening and kind of stroll through. I think that'd be a great thing for the community.
And that was my update for that.
Great. Anything else? Any other questions on that? Why don't we move to item 6, the director's oral report.
Okay, so it's been a while since we've met, but the last time we met officially, I was in charge of the library, and I'm happy to say that we have hired a library director. Damon Hill started in July, and has taken over and is doing really well. Staff really have taken to him. I think he's going to be a great face of the library moving forward. And so it's allowed me to kind of pivot back to recreation. Gets me to my next point. Gianni Lacruba has been working here as an administrative assistant for about 1.5 years and was promoted July 24th to recreation coordinator. And so it's a good step for him. I'm really happy for him. He has been, I think when he took the job as an admin assistant here, that he wasn't necessarily looking to take that path, but has really taken to it, and so I'm going to be showing him the ropes, and that's how we're going to start expanding programming again and get back to the pre-pandemic levels that we were.
I have a quick,
Yeah.
The person that's running the libraries, are they gonna, before they used to have sort of overview of Parks and Rec, is that the way it's gonna be, or has that changed? Can you remind me of how things are, how the tree is looking these days?
Yeah, so we after COVID in 2020, we combined library and recreation into community services, and I think realized that it wasn't working, mainly because of being such a small city, that we weren't able to have 2 assistant directors and a director. So it just became really difficult to find one person that could oversee both departments. And so we divided back up into recreation and libraries. We're separate departments now. So Damon and I will be working closely together, but we're both directors overseeing separate departments.
Okay.
Yeah.
And under recreation falls parks, I take it. There's not a.
Parks is more under Public Works. So Rita's an employee of Public Works, and maintenance and stuff is all done through Public Works as well.
So we work together because we're building stuff so that he can program
Sure.
it.
Thanks for not saying real name.
I build it, he wrecks it, that's the joke. But there's some, definitely we work together. I mean, it doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna build something you can't use. They'll just continue to wreck whatever I need. That's just, okay. Just mess with me.
can I just ask, I'm curious, and not to put you on the spot, Nick, but this is great news. First of all, that you are no longer running two departments, and that you have support. Like, do you have what are some priorities for when you said rebuilding rec? Kind of what areas of focus you were most interested in restoring, reviving, or?
Yeah, so I would like somebody, and this is what Gianni's going to mainly be doing is programming. So he's going to be when COVID kind of hit, we had a ton of classes and instructors, and they didn't work for 2 or 3 years for us. And a lot of those people have retired, moved on, started new careers. So it wasn't just a matter of a quick phone call and getting classes back. So what we're doing right now is we're combing through instructors that come to us wanting to teach a class. It's more than just background checks. It's more, deciding what classes can fit where. Does a class work here at Hall? Should we be going to Basage with it? In recruiting instructors, and it was just something that I was realizing quickly that I used to do a lot and just did not have time to the point where it was getting difficult to even get back to people. So this is going to be Gianni's main thing is to recruit instructors and to vet instructors and get more classes going. Because we're such a small city, small department, he'll also be doing rentals and special events. So special events are kind of one of my favorite things. So we'll be doing that together. And I have some ideas for the future, which I'm not ready to share right now, but I do have some events that I'd like to see through in the next year or two.
Is there a focus, is it youth focus on and seniors and the community? I mean,
Community as a whole. Yeah. So right now, most instructors that come to us looking to teach youth classes. That's typically where the money is. And then really for older adults, you're looking at, what are the trends right now? What are people looking to do? One of our more popular programs is the Larkspur Walkers, and I know you've seen them around town. They love to walk on their own. They like to lead the walks on their own with very little direction. And I've noticed that's something that people like. Same with in the garden. Stephen is the volunteer coordinator there and leads the group, and they have kind of a committee that kind of steers them where they're going. So the adult programming is going to come a little bit slower, but I think it'll come along.
From the community garden, how do people become gardeners? Or what if I wanted a spot to garden? What would I do?
Yeah, you would so you go to our website or the garden website, and then there's basically a link that emails the rec department, so then Gianni and I, and so we add you to a wait list. The wait list is currently about 3 or 4 years long.
Oh, wow.
So I think there's 45 to 50 names on it. Every year we turn over, I've seen it as low as 5 garden plots, and as many as 12 last year. And then as we go through the wait list, a lot of people have moved away or they're no longer interested. So we usually go through about 20 names on the wait list. So about 3 to 4 years right now. And then you get a call from me and you forgot that you were on the list. And
So I'm ready.
yeah.
Gotta get your name in.
Yeah.
Let's just start knocking off some people.
I've got a question about music in the park.
Yes.
Can you give us a quick update on how that's going?
Yeah.
We still have a couple more concerts this.
That was next on my
season.
list. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I want to jump the gun.
Perfect. Yes, the music in the park. We've had two musics in the park, one in June, one in July, and they've gone really well. We've gotten great crowds at them. The crowds were similar in size to what we've experienced before. There was a lot of energy in the July show. We had a local band, San Anselmo band, El Cajon out, and they were one of our big names that we had in 2019, and they just do such a great job and people were out dancing, and I think it was just a really good feeling that I really liked. The next music in the park is August 25th, so it's next Friday. We're gonna have Doug Adams and the Crazy Good Band. I've worked with Doug for years in different events and programming and stuff, and just a really excellent musician. Does a lot of string type stuff, blues, throwing some Irish music, but it's a lot of fun. And his big claim that he'll tell you about is that he co-wrote Santa Got Run Over by a Reindeer. So
Thinking you won't be playing that?
you know what? We'll
You
see.
might.
We'll see how the evening goes. But a great musician, and I highly recommend coming out and seeing him. It'll be a good show, and he's got a good band with him. Numbers wise, we've been probably over 200 people. It usually starts really low, although I haven't had that feeling of nervousness about not getting enough people yet. I feel like the crowd's coming early enough, and parking lot usually fills up by about 6:10, 6:15. At which point people park it over here at Hall, or I don't know where they park, I don't ask, but they get here. So, and people trickle in as late as 7:15, 7:30. So, yeah.
And you also have one in September.
And we do have one in September 15th. And I do want to say too that this series was sponsored by the Larkspur Community Foundation, and they've been excellent to work with. They're showing up to every show and with a booth. We also have Pig in a Pickle out selling barbecue.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so small booth, but yeah, they have their pulled pork and pulled chicken sandwiches out there. So, questions?
I hope to make one of these days. I always have a conflict, but I'm gonna put that September 15th.
Yep.
That one on the.
Yeah, September 15th is a tough one for me. Spike Sykes and his awesome hotcakes. They were recommended to me, and I've looked them up, and they look amazing. So a lot of, and they are specifically blues, but pretty well known in Marin and up into Sonoma.
That's
They're
great. And,
going to be a good show too.
and do some of these bands themselves do their own marketing? Like, will they then send out to their lists of like, well, hey, we're going to be at Piper Park on these dates, and
Yes, so some of them
Somewhere
are
else on
really
these
good.
other
Some of
days.
them have big presences, big presence on Instagram, and then they'll tag us, or we'll tag them in the post. And some show with El Cajon has a pretty good following, so I know that they had some San Anselmo folks out there, and I know a lot of people remembered them from 2019. So
I saw El Cajon play up in Truckee this summer.
okay, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
There's a street festival, like a weekly street festival called Truckee Thursdays. And
Oh,
there's a beer garden, and yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
And you see a continuation of this program for next year?
Yes, I would like to expand. I would like to figure out a way, and I don't know what expansion looks like. I know it means more shows. I haven't figured out if it makes sense to do 6 weeks in a row, or does it make sense to spread it out further? Do we do it every 2 weeks? So I really have to look at what other cities are doing and what makes it what's working. So I haven't decided, and I'm open to input on that too.
yeah, I mean, I read the ARC and the Marin J and other newspapers, and see that there's so much music going on. It's amazing what's happening in Tiburon, Sausalito, etc. So just kind of when you're kind of figuring out how to do that, how do we kind of integrate with that and not compete, but sort of be part of that overall sort of music scene.
Yeah. What I like about ours, and I think it might bring our numbers down a little bit, is the fact that we're doing it in a park kind of away from a downtown. so it's great, because it's more of a relaxing atmosphere. But it misses a little bit of that downtown energy, I think.
And again, the Corte Madera at Mickey Park, the music on Sundays, that's not really part of like a downtown, but it's pretty popular.
Yeah.
One thing I do like about that one is that it is on every Sunday. And so you kind of know, it's like, oh, like it's Sunday afternoon, like, oh, let's pop down to Mickey and see who's playing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. It's on your brain. So that's something to be said about having on a more routine basis.
Yes, yeah, I agree with that, because doing it once a month now, it's almost like you have to take the time to put it in your calendar and make it work, as opposed to just knowing that you can show up. So it's definitely a thought that I've been having.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
People's coming. That was her big sense on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
San Antonio.
Well, they've got that great, because they've got the park and then the downtown
Yes,
right there.
right
So
there.
they really-
Yeah, it works out nicely.
Yeah.
And every Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
Every Friday, exactly.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Close. We won't go there. Closing up the street. So that's exciting.
Good.
Great.
And those are my my updates.
Well, thank you. I know you've been busy. It's gonna be a busy year coming up. Commissioner reports. Anything anybody wants to share?
The one thing I was kind of curious about, in the past, we've taken August off, and that was sort of like a yearly thing. This year, we didn't have too much going on in July, and I think we had sort of, I know that maybe a couple commissioners could come, maybe it was in June or July, but are we sticking to that, taking August off, or is that sort of in limbo now, or just kind of trying to figure out?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest. I know that was usually something where it lined up where there was nothing on the agenda in August. One of the keys was that we hadn't met since April, and so I was kind of feeling the pressure to meet. So we can look going forward. We could certainly plan out. We could set an agenda item and plan out when we meet. We are not. I'm trying to think. If we, the big thing that we used to have was the heritage tree ordinance, and now that has moved to planning, there's not as much urgency necessarily to meet. When there's an application that comes through and somebody's waiting to get a tree approved. So we could look at setting dates. We could look at setting August as a time that we don't meet.
Yeah, I often thought that July would be a better month to take off than August, just because I think more people are around in August, because schools come back into session.
Yeah.
So if we do that, I don't know if we really need to establish 1 month of dedicating it to that being off. But if we did, I would make a push for July.
Okay. Yeah. Works for me. Yeah, so we can talk about that. Let me do some background and find out exactly what we can do, and that way people can kind of plan their summers around that too.
That's all I have.
I just say thanks for the update on the parks. I get a lot of questions about it, particularly obviously Niven. Everybody asking what's happening. Everybody's very excited for it. So this is helpful to be able to share with people what's going on.
Yeah. There's a lot of sausage making behind us.
Yes.
Behind the curtain. So.
Yeah. Always is.
Great. Now, I was just gonna say that I have used the new dog park a couple of times. I believe my dog likes it too. He comes with me. And I think when the rains come and it gets dark, I think it's gonna be an incredible resource for people, because it's really hard at that time to kind of find places that are safe, that you can take your dog out, especially if you work and you can't take your dog out until 6 o'clock at night. So I would imagine there's gonna be an even greater usage as it gets darker outside, because there'll be fewer options.
Yeah.
So anyway, great job on that. So excited.
Yeah, there'll probably be enough ambient light from those street lights on doors.
Well, I think there will. I
Yeah.
was thinking there will, oh, we'll have all the trees.
Yeah.
But just, you know, in the rain and the mud puddles and it's muddy and stuff like that, having the artificial turf
Yeah.
will also be really great for just, you know, all that stuff. So I anticipate that usage will probably go up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very pretty park. It's very attractive.
Yeah, we're really lucky. Okay. That's all I got. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I will second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
You guys, so busy. This is so exciting.